Today, we're going to be talking about everything we know about community servers for the console edition of Rust. We're going to be going over what we've learned about community servers from the interview that I did with Pedro from the 11, from the latest and, dare I say, greatest Rust console dev blog, and from a few various sources throughout the past year or two that Rust console edition has been a thing. Now, in addition to this, let me just note that all this information is information that's already been out in the community. There's no breaking news that's going to be released in this video. So if you've been keeping up to date with everything, if you subscribe to my channel and been watching all my videos, you can probably skip this one. But if you like the sound of my voice or you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, do that and let's get into the Rust community servers information, I guess. I was going to say let's get into the news, but this isn't really news. So here's what we've got, right? Community servers are player-owned servers. Players are obviously going to have the ability to buy these servers and set a password on them so only their best and favorite friends can join. Now, if you want to open them up to the whole wide Rust community, as you know, the community can be a bit toxic. And yes, that is a pretty massive understatement. It's a bit like saying Kanye West said some bad words. So let's get into it. Basically, here's what we know about community servers. First off, there's going to be a few different positions that players can have on community servers. So you can be an old owner, an admin, a mod, or a VIP, along with just a classic player, which would really have no role. So an owner, that's obviously the person who owns the server. An administrator would be someone who administrates the server. Moderator would probably be like a lesser form of an administrator. And then a VIP would likely be either your best friends or someone who paid you a little bit of money to get that spot. What does it actually mean to have these roles? Well, we don't really know yet, but we do know that there's certain things that can be given or certain permissions that can be given to each role on its own. So basically, the owner is going to be able to set what admins, mods, and VIPs can do. So you're going to have the ability to allow server-wide gifting, which would basically mean that people could choose an item and give it to all players on a server. We don't know yet if that would be all players online or all players who have ever joined that server or all players who are sleeping on the server. Also, in addition to that, you can spawn in items, but only spawn them in for yourself. So if you're an admin, a VIP, a mod, maybe you just want to make AKs rain down on your body, you can do that. It won't look like rain, but you can just put them all in your inventory. You also have a God mode that will obviously prevent you from taking any damage. There's a no-clip mode, which allows you to fly. You're going to have the ability to teleport across the server to various locations on the map, or basically any location on the map. And then in addition to that, I'm not sure if this is going to be something that you're going to set once and forget about it, or if this is going to be something that you can actually play around with. There's a zoning feature, which is basically you can make a PvP zone, and anywhere outside that PvP zone is going to be PvE. I think you can also do the opposite and make a PvE zone, and anywhere outside of that zone is going to be PvP. So if you've been following along, you know I started a Serial Overdrive Village, and it's been carried on by a lot of players who just really loved the idea and ran with it. So if I had a server, one thing I might do is make a PvE zone where people can set up the village, build peacefully, and then around it, maybe there's a PvP zone that people can sort of build into if they want a little bit more combat, a little bit more action, and then the rest of the server is open for anyone. You can PvP to your heart's content. Now, if those zones could be movable, maybe something we could do is say, hey, let's make Oil Rig a PvE zone for the first week so players can practice on it, do whatever. Make it PvE for the last week so, again, players can practice on it, get used to it, and then in the next wipe, they're more ready to run that monument. You could do something like that, which would just allow for friendlier interactions at these monuments, and you could do it periodically, right? Like end of wipe, maybe you make the whole map PvP and everybody can go nuts, including people in the village. Or at the beginning of wipe, you make it PvE and then slowly shift things over to PvP as people get more weapons. You get where I'm going with this. There's a lot of really cool options that could take place with the zoning, especially if that is something that you're allowed to do periodically. And the way it's been worded, the way people have said it, I think that actually might be the case, which is awesome. From the screenshots that have been shown, there's a few other things that we can draw out. So first off, you can see you've still got monthly, weekly, bi-weekly wipes. Bi-weekly would be a new thing, and it looks like that's something that people who pay for servers can do. You've also got something that's PvP scheduled, which makes me think that you can open up PvP on a server. So you might say something like the first day or two isn't going to be PvP, and after that, a PvP event is scheduled. Or there's maybe a PvP event that everybody can go online for and just go nuts at the outpost or wherever. You've also got aim assist, and then there's another feature that's called the Sixers, Eights, stuff like that. What that would probably mean is the team amount. So you can see trios also. So basically, if you only want to allow 3 people to be in a team, 6 people to be in a team, or 8 people to be in a team, you can set the team size. Now, you still do have to do moderation over this because obviously someone could create multiple teams of 8, and then you've just got a massive Zerg running around that nobody really knows about if they're just looking at team sizes. The one problem I see here is if you look at sort of the controls as far as bans, everything like that, I don't see any way that you can actually go back and look at the history to sort of tell if people are teaming up. So if you go to a traditional community server on the PC version of Rust, one of the things that a lot of moderators will do is they can look and see items and bases and transfers and see how things are being shared among players, right? So for instance, 2 players approach each other, they don't PvP each other. Maybe one of them is just very charismatic, and even though he had an Ioka, he managed to talk that AK guy down. But you can also see if items are transferred. So if that AK guy has been giving AKs to the guy with the Ioka, or you can see them shooting at other people but not at each other, you can see that consistently happening, you might be able to figure out that that's a team. That is something that I really don't see in the options. I can see they've got connected all recent players, which is cool. You can see which players have been joining your game. You see platform name. I'm not 100% sure what that is. Then you've got admins, mods, VIPs, and banned. Obviously, you can ban players. But I don't see anywhere that you can see sort of how items are being controlled and passed between players. Additionally, I don't even know how you'd really be able to do that on an Xbox or PlayStation. It feels like something that is keyboard and mouse sort of intensive, right? Like, you want to be able to look at logs. You want to be able to search through the logs for a name. Having to do that with a controller could be very cumbersome. So one of the things I've sort of been trying to get out of D11 is there going to be a way to connect a PC to these servers to check logs and things like that? So far, it doesn't seem like it. I could be wrong on this. This could be something that I'm just ill-informed on. There hasn't really been too official of an answer on this one, but it feels like that's not something you're going to be able to do, and that does make me worry because it can be very hard to do it without that. In addition, some other things that you got maintenance, you've got tools. This is where you're going to do God mode, no clip teleportation, everything like that. Then you've got gameplay, extras, communication, and access. So the gameplay area, that might be something where you could be able to possibly see how players are working, how they're communicating, how they're sort of working together. I'm not sure, though. And that's pretty much everything that we know about community servers. Based on what you can see on the staging branch and everything like that, it looks like we're still at least a couple months away from community servers actually coming out. And it might be many more months than a couple months. It's hard to know with D11 because, like they originally said, community servers were going to be released in a month or 2 after the release of the console edition of Rust, which happened almost 2 years ago. So they were way off on that. So it's hard to know just where they're standing with community servers. It does seem like when they make an announcement, we can expect it to be a little bit better than the last one. But still, they haven't said much about it. The fact that they are teasing about it, the fact that they are talking about it means that we're probably looking at least a couple months, but not more than that is my guess. Like, we can probably see community servers maybe like February, March, April. Something like that would be my best guess. It's just a guess. It's not based on anything I've been told or anything like that. Otherwise, I would like to see some information about how they're going to help with managing and gameplay and everything like that. And when I say gameplay, I mean as far as just seeing other people's gameplay and trying to go back through the logs and figure out what happened. For instance, if you've got a team of duos and someone that says, hey, I'm a solo, I got ganged up on by 5 players, how is someone going to figure out if that actually happened? Are there logs that they can look at? Can they use their PC to look at those logs? How is this going to work? How easy is it going to be? Because honestly, if you're telling me that Rust is not a keyboard and mouse game, they don't accept keyboard and mouse, and then somehow you expect me to search through logs and type things in and do all that with a controller, that is a very, very high ask in my opinion. But again, we've got to see what happens. We've got to see where this goes. A really cool thing I'd like to see would be allowing community servers to allow the keyboard and mouse. So you could actually have keyboard and mouse specific servers. We know people are cheating. We know people are using Zim. It's a huge issue. But if we could at least put those people in their own server, at least those people who are willing to do it in their own server, it might make things a little bit better for those of us who are using controllers the legit and fair way. So yeah, a lot of it remains up in the air. A lot of it remains to be seen. But I think overall the UI does look good. It seems like a lot of the changes they're putting in are good. I like the fact that they've got that VIP option, which probably will be monetized by people. And I like the fact that they've said that they will support servers of, just a couple friends and servers that are, or communities that are multi-server spanning. So for instance, in my case, maybe I want to make a server in the US, Europe, and Australia, maybe Asia too, right? Make 4 servers for everybody. Everybody gets their chance. Everybody gets the sort of low ping servers, and I'll play between all of them based on the wipe and what I'm feeling. I think that could be really cool. I think that could be really useful for some people. Based on the village, I know there's a lot of people that are playing in the US. They want to stay on US servers. There's a lot of people playing in Europe. To their credit, most of them say, like, I joined a US server. It's fine. But I still feel bad. It would be nice to be able to switch things around, move to different servers. Or better yet, if D11 gave you the option to move your server between regions, that sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is. That shouldn't be that hard. If they're putting everything in a virtual machine, it's literally like just a copy paste, a quick move over. They could make a tool to do it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff left up in the air, and we're just going to have to wait and see how it turns out. Right now, I'm not getting too excited about community servers. It's still something that, like, it could be amazing, or it could just be inviting the trolls in to wreak havoc until you can figure out who the troll is, and then their friends might come in, and it just devolves into a spectacular mess that you want to post on Pornhub. Like, it could be bad. But we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see how everything turns out. Until then, I think overall it looks like D11's heading in the right direction. It seems like community servers are actually going to be something solid. Everything seems good from what we've been given. But that said, D11's not going to come out and make a statement that says, this is a horrible thing. It's going to be a complete disaster. Don't waste your money. Give up on the game. That's never a statement you're going to hear from any PR, HR, coder, whatever. No one's going to say it. As socially awkward as programmers are, even they are not going to say that. So we're just going to have to wait and see how it is and go from there. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe, and until next time, peace.